Ahem. Now, where to begin? Oh yes. Toy Story is one of the greatest movie series in the world. I loved it growing up. I loved Pixar movies since I was a kid. However, there's something that I've been devastated from that I think I might feel comfortable telling you. I was browsing on the web, watching YouTube videos, and looking on Google images of Toy Story, etc. Until I got a mail notification on my laptop saying I got an email from Pixar. As I opened the email, it said, "Dear biggest Toy Story fan in Australia, we have found a very dark deleted scene of Toy Story 2. A former Pixar animator was fired for adding this in a film for children and his taste in horror films, so we dropped it out and replaced it with a better one for children. Only watch this at your own risk, the Pixar team." I was very surprised and confused. How did they even know me? And how was there a deleted draft of Toy Story 2? But I accepted the email anyway. The file name was Toy Story 2 Woody's Nightmare, a beat 'em up, so it was a deleted version of Woody's Nightmare from Toy Story 2. I used to be scared of that scene when I was little, I thought. I opened the file, and it had a message before the video started. This deleted scene of Toy Story 2 has been changed and will never be seen by the public. This disturbing clip is not for the faint-hearted. Viewer discretion is advised. Moving right on, it showed a shot of Andy's house at dawn. When it cut to Andy's room, Woody was on his shelf sleeping that Andy's mom put him on after Andy accidentally ripped his arm. Just then, the Davis car rolled in through the window, getting Woody's attention. Yeehaw. Right, cowboy Andy whooped, as heard in the film itself. "He's back," Woody asked himself, noticing Andy. He then looked down at the rest of the toys and called out, "Hey, everybody. Andy's back. He's back early from cowboy camp." On the ground were Mr. Potato Head, Rocky, Slinky and Rex playing cards, getting Woody's attention. Hom, next to the door, shouted, "Places everybody. Andy's coming." All of the toys scattered around the room to find their usual places. Woody heard Andy's footsteps approaching upstairs, so he became motionless. Andy burst into his room, riding a wooden hobby horse, humming the Lone Ranger theme as usual heard in the movie. He then stepped up to the shelf and spotted Woody on the shelf. "Hey, Woody. Did you miss me?" Andy said as usual dialogue in the film. He then snatched Woody off and swung him around, until he stopped and noticed something. "Oh, I forgot," Andy moaned, noticing the rip on Woody's arm. "You're broken," he said as he tugged at the arm. Andy then moved Woody away from him, and said his same line from the film, but it shifted to a distorted filter like heard in foreign dubs of the scene. "I don't want to play with you anymore." I got chills down my spine hearing that distorted filter. Andy then loosened his grip and let go of Woody in slow motion. It showed a worm's eye view shot of Woody falling towards the camera as the image behind him stretched out. He fell on a pile of cards that the toys were playing earlier. It then went to an empty sea of flying cards, but the background was in a shade of crimson red rather than the blue-teal background. Woody then fell through a larger card, but it was ignited in flames. "What am I watching right now?" I said under my breath. Woody then fell through a spotlight and into an empty dustbin. It then cut to a shot of Woody lying in the dustbin full of mismatched toy arms as seen in the movie. However, the arms were faintly stained in blood. Woody regained movement and noticed he was in the dustbin. He jumped up and out of the dustbin to run. The arms then extended like a tentacle and shot at Woody, grabbed him by the ankle and pulled him into the air. They swung him around the empty dark area before Andy's distorted echoing voice said off screen, "This is your new home, I hope you have a good time there." It showed a first-person shot of Woody being flung around as he can be heard screaming. It cut back to Woody continuing being swung around until the arms flung him down to the bin. It showed another first-person shot of Woody falling into the bin as a hole opened up. He landed on a rough ground. The floor was tiled in black and white. He put his hat back on and went to look around. "Nice of you to visit, cowboy," a voice whispered. Woody darted his eyes around frantically, wondering where that voice came from. It showed a shot of a back view of Woody. Just then, a mismatched arm then popped up out of nowhere and wrapped around Woody's neck to strangle him. I can hear Woody choking watching that horrible scene. More mismatched arms raised up in front of him. We are the broken toys. Nobody loves playing with any broken toy, which means that we don't function properly. You are one of us now. We always obey the master who throws us away, the toys whispered, revealing to be the mysterious voice. A dustbin then grew from the ground around Woody and more arms sprouted out around him. No. Andy. No. No, Andy. No, pleaded Woody, as heard in the final film, as he tried to unclasp the arm around his neck. The arm just clasped back onto his neck, and the arm started pulling him down the dustbin, as Woody's chokes could still be heard. Just then, it showed a white circle from a worm's eye view shot and Andy approached in front of it, but he had a zombie-like appearance as his eyes were bloodshot and his skin was pale. Bye, Woody, Andy said sadly, echoing through the dustbin, as heard in the film itself. It showed a bird's eye view shot of Woody getting pulled down, as he was almost submerged in the pile of arms. Woody cried, "No, no." Andy then closed the lid. It showed a black screen after he did that. I was expecting something else to happen. Just then, the silence was interrupted by a scream that belonged to Woody. The screaming continued until it showed an image of Woody lying on the ground motionless. His broken arm was torn off, he was missing his eyes, one of his boots was pulled off, his mouth was agape and he was lying on a bloody puddle. Side note, toys cannot bleed, but the blood obviously came from the arms since they were blood-stained. There were screams fading in slowly as the screen zoomed in on his face. But not long after, it showed a scene that came from the final movie, Woody screaming, waking up, which frightened me, and gasping for air, right before the scene he met Wheezy. Then the video ended. After Woody's corpse, I rushed to the bathroom and vomited straight into the toilet. I posted it to YouTube, so I deleted the file so no one could have their childhoods ruined. I've had a lot of nightmares about that video clip. I've hallucinated Woody's lifeless face staring at me. The animator who made that scrapped animation of Woody's nightmare from Toy Story 2 must be sued. I haven't watched a Toy Story video, nor looked up an image after what I just saw. Later that night, I have some nightmare for garbage mismatched toys killing me as the same of Woody's body in the dustbin. Never ever click suspicious links of deleted scenes from the movie. Oh my god, this creepypasta is so scary, I think I'm gonna vomit.
What's his problem?
Sorry for raging a lot. I apologize to everyone at what I did, but let's get started, shall we? Ahem, Toy Story is one of the greatest movie series in the world. I loved it growing up. I loved Pixar movies since I was a kid. However, there's something that I've been devastated from that I think I might feel comfortable telling you. I was browsing on the web, watching YouTube videos, and looking on Google images of Toy Story, etc. Until I got a mail notification on my laptop saying I got an email from Pixar. As I opened the email, it said, "Dear biggest Toy Story fan in Australia, we have found a very old deleted scene of Toy Story 2 in our files. A former Pixar animator, we wish not to mention the name of, was fired for adding this in a film for children and his taste in horror films, so we dropped it out and replaced it with a better one for children. Only watch this at your own risk, the Pixar team." I was very surprised and confused. How did they even know me? And how was there a lost Toy Story 2 file? But I accepted the email anyway. The file name was Woody Nightmare, a beat-em-up, so it was an early test of Woody's nightmare, I thought. I opened the file, and it had a message before the video started. This deleted scene of Toy Story 2 has been changed and will never be seen by the public. This disturbing clip is not for the faint-hearted. Viewer discretion is advised. Moving right on, it showed a shot of Andy's house at dusk. We zoomed into the window, and we go into Andy's room. No one was visible, except for Woody, who is on the shelf that Andy's mom put him on after Andy accidentally ripped his arm. Woody was facing away from us. He sighed. "He left me, he actually left me," he moaned. Woody turned around, with a depressed look on his face. His mouth quivered, his eyes twitched, and he buried his head into his knees and started to sob softly. It touched me deeply to see Woody crying. His sobs didn't sound too fake, they sounded like that his voice actor, Tom Hanks, was in tears. He cried for a good 10 seconds, before his crying got more pained and louder. "I can't believe it. I can't believe he didn't take me with him to cowboy camp," he called out. His friends, Buzz Lightyear, Mr. Potato Head, Slinky Dog, Ham and Rex heard Woody's sobbing as they came out from under the bed. I realized the reason Woody was crying: Andy didn't take him to cowboy camp. In a fit of anger, Woody pushed the magic 8-ball, as seen in the first film, off the shelf, leaving the floor with a dent. "Whoa, the cowboy needs a hold of himself," Ham whispered to his friends. Woody jumped off the shelf onto the ground and told the 5 toys that he will find a new home. "Guys, short staff meeting, I will be finding a new lovely place for me to enjoy. So, goodbye everyone." The rest of Andy's toys heard Woody's speech, and they were saddened to hear Woody was leaving. Woody climbed out of the window and looked at Andy's room for one last time, before sliding off the roof. He got flung up in the air due to the water drain giving him an extra boost, but he wasn't badly injured. Woody traveled throughout the Tri-County city, until he found an old restaurant. He decided to spend life as a homeless toy. Before he found a place to rest, he heard something rustling in the bin, which appeared in the final film. He went to investigate the bin. It rustled again until broken toy arms, which also appeared in the final film, emerged out of it and grabbed Woody by the waist. He struggled trying to get the arms off him, but their grip was too strong. They pulled him in the bin. What Woody saw in the bin after being dropped in there were dead rats, blood and flies flying over their bodies. Woody had a scared expression on his face. He tried to climb out of it. While that happened, it had many jump cuts going back and forth showing what is happening in the scene right now, static, and what appears to be the beginning of Monsters, Incorporated, where Mr. Bile was trying to scare a simulator child. Before Woody got an inch out, the arms grabbed him and tried to bury him alive. Woody was being strangled as one of the arms grabbed him by the throat. He screamed as he is being pulled into the bloody puddle, as it had another back and forth moment, showing animals being slaughtered, static, and Woody being pulled in the bin. Only Woody's hand reached out, which is the only part of Woody that is not swallowed whole. Moments later, Woody got thrown out of the bin and landed on the pavement. However, he did not move. He was slightly inactive. He was missing his eyes, his mouth was agape, his stitching was ripped, and part of his face has been damaged, leaving a hole. There were screams fading in slowly as the screen stayed on his face, zooming in on it. But not long after, it showed a scene that came from the final movie, Woody waking up screaming and gasping for air, the scene he meets Wheezy. Then the video ended. My stomach was feeling upset, so I rushed to the bathroom and vomited straight into the toilet. I couldn't bother showing it to YouTube, so I deleted the file so no one could have their childhoods ruined. I've had a lot of nightmares about that video clip. I've hallucinated Woody's lifeless face staring at me. The animator who made that scrapped animation of Woody's nightmare from Toy Story 2 must be sued. I haven't watched a Toy Story video, nor looked up an image after what I just saw. If you get a file that it is about a deleted scene which is made by a writer for his taste in creepy stuff, don't watch it. You'll absolutely regret it. The end. So scary.
What's his problem?
Sorry. Let's just get back to this creepypasta story. Now, where was I? Oh yay. I told a story about a deleted draft of Woody's nightmare from Toy Story 2, a scene from the movie that scared me when I was a kid. However, there was a much more messed up story I had seen in my life. Every time I mind my own business, it doesn't go away. I was sitting on a hill of sand in my backyard, relaxing. I even decided to go into a pit next to it. When I was walking all over it, my foot somehow felt a cardboard feeling. I examined through the sand to see where the cardboard feeling came from, and I find a box sealed shut. I couldn't grab it all the way out, so I went to get a shovel to dig it out. I cleaned the sand off, and put it in the house. I grabbed scissors and cut the tape open. When I opened up the box, it was revealed to be a Toy Story 2 DVD. Well, in a CD case, for some reason. This DVD is about 2 internship recreations of the Woody's nightmare sequence. The cover consisted of Woody in a dustbin, reaching his hand out as if he were calling for help, while the mismatched toy arms were about to attack him. And surprising thing is, this DVD's release date was September 17, 2002, 15 days after I was born. I was quite surprised I decided to watch it. However, that painful memory of when I first watched the first deleted draft of Woody's Nightmare bothered me. I hesitated either if I should watch the DVD or just get rid of it. But I made up my mind. Horrible idea later on. So, I put the disc in my portable DVD player and moved it to a position to make me get comfortable. It took me to a menu, with all the main Toy Story 2 characters. And the background music was a portion of a soundtrack from the movie where Jessie meets Woody for the first time. And the 2 Nightmare internship recreations on the selection column were 1. Nightmare About Zurg, completed, November 2nd, 2001, 2. Andy's Cousin, completed, September 3rd, 2002, the date surprised me. The Nightmare About Zurg was completed on the day Monsters, Incorporated was released in cinemas, and The Nightmare About Andy's Cousin was completed a day after I was born. I pressed play so I can watch all of them without going back to the menu to watch one of the others. Before The Nightmare About Zurg started, there was a warning screen. These internship animations are not for anybody with sensitivity issues. Also, please beware of any disturbing moments here and there. Viewer discretion is advised. Oh, no, here we go again. However, the nightmare sequence started with a scene in the final cut, with Woody watching Andy and his mom drive away to cowboy camp. Once it showed the next day, with Woody sleeping on the shelf, instead of the Davis car driving into the shot through the window, there was a sudden bang on the wall Woody was next to. This woke up Woody. He went to investigate where the banging was coming from. Up, guys, Woody called the other toys. Do you hear something on the floor? Mr. Potato Head, Rocky, Slinky and Rex were playing cards, like in the movie. They looked up at Woody and Mr. Potato Head said, "Nope, don't hear anything." "I'm pretty sure I heard something," Woody replied.
"I'm coming for you, Sheriff,"
cooed a very familiar sinister voice. Woody gasped in shock and called out to the other toys. "Guys, there is someone in the house." The wall banged again, knocking Woody back, leading him to dangle one-armed on the shelf with his working arm. "Oh, no," Buzz said, on top of the bed. "This is bad," Hom said, next to the door. Rex screamed, "Everybody run, hide," Slinky called. The rest of Andy's toys hid under the bed, while some of them hid in the toy box. Woody hesitated to jump off the shelf because he would get hurt. He couldn't move his broken arm due to the size of the rip. Somebody banged on the wall again, knocking Woody into the pile of cards. Like in the movie, Woody fell into an empty space of flying cards of aces. This time, he was active and was screaming as he fell. Once he fell through a larger card, he plummeted to a familiar location earlier in the film. It was the battle area from the Buzz Lightyear video game. Woody got up, putting his hat back on with his working arm. He looked around to see what this place was, and right behind him, Zurg was elevating up in the center. And holy shit, Zurg looked psychotic. He was all blood-stained, he had cracked teeth, a broken eye.
"Hello, cowboy,"
Zurg said. "You're Zurg?" Woody asked in confusion. The archenemy of Buzz Lightyear.
"That is correct, Sheriff. I am the archenemy of Buzz Lightyear, and it's time to die."
Woody scrambled back to his feet to run, but a familiar face landed in front of him, resulting in Woody to be pushed down to the floor face first. As he looked up, that familiar face was, sweet Jesus, Nightmare Buzz from the 1995 Toy Story video game.
"Hey there, cowboy."
Nightmare Buzz chuckled, smiling sinisterly.
Yes, I hired this toy to be my assistant for this execution."
Zurg revealed. "Execution?" Woody exclaimed in horror. "You two are going to destroy me," Nightmare Buzz then said.
"That's right. We are gonna finish your life painless and quick."
Woody then spotted the bridge of discs from far above. He got back on his feet to run.
Hey, get back here.
Nightmare Buzz yelled.
Get him, Nightmare Buzz.
Zurg ordered. As Woody was about to make the final jump to the door, Nightmare Buzz suddenly lunged into him and they flew high up into the air. The two then flew back towards the ground and Nightmare Buzz hovered in front of Zurg, holding Woody in front of the latter's already pointed iron blaster.
Execute him now, my master.
Nightmare Buzz demanded. No. Please don't hurt me. What did I do to deserve this? Zurg then blasted Woody in his boot, causing it to disintegrate. That was my boot, Woody angrily shouted. Zurg replied.
Don't care, they're just useless anyway.
Every single light in the battle area turned dark red, to symbolize blood. Zurg then grabbed Woody by the throat to strangle him.
You want to know what you did to deserve this?
Asked Zurg. No, Woody spoke through his chokes.
You are friends with Buzz Lightyear, who is my enemy, and now I think you should have a little water slide down here.
Zurg pointed to the empty hole where he elevated up to the battle area. The mismatched toy arms popped up out of it, covered in blood. No. No. You can't do this, Woody exclaimed in horror.
It's for the best, cowboy.
Zurg shouted deviously, and he began laughing maniacally. Nightmare Buzz then cut off Woody's broken arm with an axe.
There, I fixed you.
Woody was shocked, but he started to get angry. You didn't fix me, you just cut my arm off. Zurg then threw Woody away from him. Woody then grabbed the edge of the empty hole while hanging one-armed. Zurg and Nightmare Buzz walked up to their almost eliminated victim.
Are you going to enjoy your fall, Sheriff?
Nightmare Buzz asked sinisterly. Woody angrily retorted, no, you two are killing machines.
Nightmare Buzz, can you do the honors?
Zurg asked.
Yes, my master.
Nightmare Buzz replied. What are you going to do? Asked Woody.
This.
Nightmare Buzz exclaimed, as he held up a handsaw.
Let's see if you can hang on with no arms.
Nightmare Buzz and Zurg then laughed maniacally as the former began slicing Woody's remaining arm. Please. No. Stop. Don't do this. No. No. Woody cried. Nightmare Buzz finally saw Woody's remaining arm off, and Woody fell down the empty pit, screaming. It then cut to Woody waking up screaming and breathing. He saw both of his arms were still on him, so he sighed in relief. And the second deleted internship animation started. Oh god, it was so messed up I couldn't sleep for nights. It started with Woody waking up from his inactivity and realizing he is put on a shelf, and noticed his broken arm. After it showed Buzz and Bo Peep exchanging sad glances, it cut to a shot of Andy's house at night time. In this shot, there was a red bike and a yellow bike helmet parked against the house. Woody and the rest of Andy's toys were sleeping in the room. Not long after, he heard somebody crying quietly. Woody woke up, hearing the crying. Woody darted his eyes around the room wondering where it is coming from. The rest of Andy's toys woke up, getting scared. Who's here? Rex nervously stuttered. Woody, do you hear that? Buzz asked. Woody then reassured everybody to remain calm. Don't worry, guys, I will check downstairs to see who is crying. Woody then hung onto the blue shelf and dropped onto the edge of the other shelf. He then peeked through the door to see who was crying. And it was a 13-year-old girl with light brown hair, brown eyes, a pink shirt, a green skirt, red socks and dark red nail polish. The girl was still crying. Woody felt hurt seeing her cry like this.
My cousin loves Woody. Why wouldn't he take him to camp?
The girl said. Cousin Woody said in confusion, under his breath.
I know toys are alive. I feel it.
Woody gasped in shock. He heard what the girl said.
In fact, I sense Woody.
The girl said, no longer crying. Woody hid behind the door. However, the girl entered Andy's room and picked him up next to the door. She picked him up and stared at him uncomfortably with her bloodshot eyes after crying.
I know you're alive. My grandmother told me she saw her toys come to life. So please, talk.
The girl pleaded. Woody had no other choice but come alive. Yes, it's true, I talk. I kept this secret for years, but you wanted to know, so here.
Thank you.
The girl said.
I am Alicia, Andy's cousin.
You're Andy's cousin, Woody said in surprise. What are you doing in Andy's house?
Well,
Alicia began.
Andy's mom called my mother and asked if I can go to her and Andy's house so she can get some company until Andy gets back.
And you cry because he didn't take me to cowboy camp, Woody asked sadly.
Yes, I am easily sensitive.
Alicia replied, choking up.
Well, I heard you were broken, and I did this with my old broken toys when I was younger.
What are you going to do? Woody asked in concern. Alicia grabbed Woody and exited right through the door. On the porch, there was a dustbin, as seen in the final cut. Alicia opened up the lid and held Woody over the it. Alicia glumly said, as her voice faded to a demonic effect.
I'm sorry, Woody, but things have to be the way they have to be.
And her brown eyes suddenly turned dark red. Woody gasped. What? He exclaimed. You can't do this. Not every child throws their broken toys out behind him. The mismatched toy arms rose behind him, but they were all blood red and full of dangerous weapons. The arms grabbed Woody and they strangled him. Alicia. Snap out of it. This is not how things should be. I love you. And Andy. At that moment, Andy appeared behind Alicia.
I saw the whole thing, Woody. You are alive.
His voice faded demonically like in various foreign dubs of the nightmare sequence. Woody screamed multiple no's as he was being pulled into the grave. Andy. Alicia. I love you too, and you two love me. I would never do anything to hurt either of you. Andy and Alicia watched Woody through the dustbin, as the sky turned white. Bye, Woody, Andy said sadly, echoing through the dustbin. As Woody was almost getting to the bottom of the dustbin, he started choking on the blood-red stench. At the bottom, Woody was falling into an empty abyss. He realized his body was suddenly ripping apart, both his arms were tearing, and his eyes turned hollow black with red pinpricks. Woody let out a blood-curdling scream as his unknown fate happened. It then cut back to reality where Woody woke up from his nightmare, with the same footage from the movie. The second animation ended, and I was in disbelief. I pulled the disc out of the DVD player, put it back in its case and smashed it. I even buried it into where I found it. I put my hands over my head in complete despair. I had seen what appeared to be the most horrifying version of Woody's nightmare. I didn't sleep for the rest of the week. Every time I sleep, I will see hallucinations of Zurg, Nightmare Buzz, Andy and Alicia staring at me. Even Woody's deformed body. Please do me a favor and don't watch any lost DVD you discover. You know what? I can't take this bullshit anymore. I don't want to narrate creepypastas anymore. Yeah.
Bruh, what the frick is his problem? Tom got spooked? Not his fault, but whose fault is it, Captain?
Mr. Tom finally got what he deserved for being spooked by one of your creepypastas. So as your captain, I advise you stop all future creepypasta content entirely and get back to the content you like the most, like the DVS, for an example. It's harming your storage space, unlike everyone else. This is my command, and that's an order.
Yes, sir, Captain. Captain, Mr. Man. As your lieutenant, I accept this responsibility for any consequences that you bestowed against me.
Good. Don't fail me. No matter what you do, me and my crew will be watching, and good luck.
I won't let you down, sir. However, there is couple more creepypastas that I need to re-narrate. So hang tight, viewers, as the new creepypasta video will be on YouTube very soon. See ya.